deep in the heart of Beverly Hills, you found For Love and Chocolate with Mr. and Mrs. Truffles.
Well, welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to you, Mrs. Truffles. I just got back from a pleasure trip. Yeah, I took my mother-in-law to the airport. Ha ha! I've been in love with the same woman for 49 years. My wife ever finds out, she'll kill me. Doctor, he told me I had 6 months to live. I told him I couldn't pay my bill. He said, okay, you have another 6 months. Why am I telling these jokes, Mrs. Truffles?
I think you just got back from the Catskills.
I got back from the Catskills. I got back with you from the Catskills.
Yes, and yet strangely, I haven't been telling any funny jokes.
What a trip that was. We went to my first cousin Jeremy and his beautiful wife Anne-Marie's wedding in Coxsackie in the Catskills, and it was incredible.
It was so beautiful. It was Shangri-La. I have never seen a more beautiful, stunning, picturesque place for a wedding.
God. Just the hills and the pond and the flowers.
The flowers.
Wow.
All of the flower arrangements were made from the flowers that were growing on this property.
It was just...
And there were flowers there I've never seen before. They were
beautiful.
Stunning. And there was a pond with swans on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Exquisite.
It was out of a dream.
Yeah, out of a beautiful dream.
Yeah,
And it's going to be such an incredible summer, right?
Yeah, well, we love being out in nature.
We do, and this summer is no exception, is it?
No, we're going to take a little time off from the podcast, go exploring our beautiful coastline, all the way up to Oregon.
That's right. Well, our first trip is going to be Big Sur again, which we can't get enough of.
Yes, and we're going to go visit with our good friends, Rita and Mike, up in Oregon.
Yes. And, somewhere along the line, maybe we'll find a wedding or two that we can crash. Because I love weddings.
We love nature, we love beauty, and we love love, and we love weddings.
Yeah, we do. So, anyway, that's all fine and good. But you know what? I think, Mrs. Truffles, I think you know what time it is.
I think I know what time it is.
Mailbag! Well, Mrs. Truffles, why don't you tell us what we have in the mailbag today?
Well, why don't we take a look and see?
Okay.
Well, Mr. Truffles, we have a letter. It's more than a letter.
Oh.
Wow, this is really special.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Give me.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Truffles, I'm writing to you today to express my most heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for your podcast. I have listened to every episode numerous times and have gained so much from them. Because of your helpful insights and perspectives, along with the great advice from your wonderful longtime married couples, I now know that I am on the right track for finding my special someone. Not only do I have confidence in my direction, but I now know how to nurture love and how to make it last. You have so inspired me that I wrote a special song just for you. I hope Adam can make beautiful music for my lyrics, and this song will make you smile. Love, Alicia Isaacs.
Oh, my goodness. That is so sweet.
Look at this song.
I can't believe it. Adam, I hope you're up to the task.
Wow, let's see what Adam can do. Let's see what you can do, Mr. Truffles.
Okay, well,
Bring it, boys.
Alicia. I can't even tell you how moved Mrs. Truffles and I were to receive your song. It makes us so happy to feel the love. And now, we want to share it back with you. In the heart of Beverly Hills, where love's sweet melodies chime, Mr. and Mrs. Truffles tell tales that intertwine. From Swiss chocolate dreams to love's enduring embrace, that podcast unfolds in a harmonious space. Oh yeah. Ooh, wait for it. Okay. Wait for it, wait for it. For love and chocolate, a sweet rendezvous with tales of love and laughter ensue with Tommy and Tara as our charming hosts. Let's savor each moment with a champagne truffle toast.
Oh my. You guys brought that to life. Adam and Tommy Truffles, you guys are... Thank you, Alicia, for giving them such a beautiful song
Alicia,
to work
that
with.
was so fun to do, and Adam crushed it, as he always does. But yeah, Alicia, thank you. It's so clear that your way of expression is through song, and we so appreciate that. And for a lot of people, that is their way to express things. I know that John Williams, composer of incredible movies like Star Wars and Jaws and E.T. and Close Encounters, he used to compose on the golf course. And actually, I saw him one day. He was, I think, of the Riviera, and he was just hitting balls, and he was composing in between, and it was so fascinating. And that brings me to our next guest, our next couple. Just right next to the studio, there's a beautiful home, and out from the top window, I used to hear, both of us would hear this Delta blues, these guitar riffs that were so incredible. And if I didn't know better, I would have thought it was some 20-something-year-old, like a real music student who was just kind of working on his craft. No, it was our new dear friend, Jon Solish.
A very learned
attorney,
yes,
who we found out later that was his way of just kind of calming himself so that he could prepare for trial, work on his briefs. But his music is incredible.
So tell us a little bit about our next guest.
Okay, Mrs. Truffles. From the desert to the sea, all the way from Rhode Island by way of Arkansas, meet the king of chili and the queen of everything, creating spice that's been enjoyed in many corners of the world. If that's not a setup, I don't know what is.
That's their words.
Yes, those are their words. And guess what? We're going to hear more of their words when we come right back with Jon and Sondra Solish. For over 40 years, Toysher has been a staple in the Beverly Hills community. Like so many other families in the community, our family has had a long-standing love affair with Toysher chocolates. Over the years, we've formed traditions and memories around these extraordinary Swiss chocolates and the enchanting wonderland of fantasy truffle boxes inside our store. Today, our family is proud to be carrying on the Toysher tradition in Beverly Hills. Well, welcome back, everybody. I gotta tell you, Mrs. Truffles, I don't know what you're putting in the rosé, but I'm feeling very good right now. My whole body is really warm.
I put real roses in it.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, well, the reason I'm giggling is because our guests who were sitting in front of us, they had two questions. Actually, it was a statement. One was, I'm not signing a release, and the other was, can I drop an F-bomb? So with those things on the table, how can that, it's just going to be a party, Mrs. Truffles.
It's going to be a party.
We're going to say hello now, Jon and Sondra Solish. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Guys, it's so nice to have you here. We can't wait to hear your special romantic story. How long have you been married? You're allowed to count with your fingers and toes. What year were you married in?
96.
So you were married in 1996.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that was it.
Wow. What's the math on that, Mr.
I think
Truffles?
that's 28 years.
28. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. I am excited to hear. How did you first meet?
Would you like to start?
Well, so we were in the same office together. She worked for one of my tenants. I'm a lawyer. We were kind of flirting along ways.
You were flirting a lot. Was that allowed?
Well, my interview, the day that I came for the interview, I came in with my girlfriend. I was going to do the interview
For this job.
for this job.
And what was the
then
position?
Legal assistant.
A legal assistant. Okay.
After the interview, she and I were just going to go and do our thing. While we were sitting there, he walks past and he stops stops in his tracks. He says, "Hi, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine, how are you?" And he goes about his business. He comes back, looks, stops, and he says, "You have a great day." I said, "You too." Well, I get the job, and then I learned that he was actually on his way to the men's room. So when I get the job, I'm looking for that handsome guy. I'm like, where is that guy that was so handsome? I thought, well, geez, maybe he was a client because I hadn't seen him. Well, it turned out he had gone on vacation.
So he worked at the firm where you were working.
It was his firm.
It was his firm.
It was his firm.
So he was the
But
big
see,
cheese.
there was the story that day. So that was the day that the riots were going on. So it was
Oh,
like
1992.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking out of my office, my window to the east across LA, there are about a dozen fires that were just smoldering and just burning, big red flames in Brentwood.
You could see the fires.
I saw the fires
from
across
Brentwood.
the city.
How tall was your building?
We were on like maybe the, 15th floor?
Yeah.
And so I looked out and I saw these fires, and they weren't tending them, so they were just burning to the sky across LA. I just thought, man, we just got to do better. I mean, this is just terrible, that people are rioting. And so I just walked past, and I just wanted to be friendly. I did. I didn't really, and I wanted to just say something friendly or something, but then we looked into each other's eyes. I mean, I just fell in. I remember the look extremely well.
Describe
even now.
it.
We were smiling, and then it didn't stop.
Well, clearly
And
she was attracted to you.
I just meant to be sort of friendly and positive. I don't think I'd really looked at you very closely when I started that look, and the look, I just sort of fell into that look, and I still remember
fell
it
into
very
her
well.
eyes.
We just looked at each other, and I've always felt that sometimes you can recognize a person that's going to be important in your life before you actually know who they are. That there's something that you can click and you sort of get that something's going to happen, and I just had that feeling like a lot.
Wow. Yeah, no, we hear that a lot in these interviews. We do.
I remember it
real.
very strongly. I remember where she was sitting. I remember her friend sitting with her.
Well, I'm very flirtatious.
No, okay, so you know that she's interviewing for a position.
I had no idea what she was doing.
you
She
didn't
could have
know.
been a
Okay.
client. I didn't have a
Got
clue.
it.
He had no idea. So I get the job. I come back. I'm looking for him. Can't find him. All of a sudden, about 3 weeks later, he pops up. And, oh my God, there's that guy. So I set to flirting. Like every time I see him, hi, how are you?
So when he was just being friendly before, did you feel like he was flirting with
Oh,
you?
yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
You
Oh,
didn't
yes.
see him as just trying to do like
No,
a friendly
it-
gesture.
It was not a, hello, how are you? It was a, hi, how are you?
We know the
Oh,
difference.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear it.
Yes, we do.
I can.
We know the difference.
Yes.
And he had a smile, and I gave him a smile back. So now, fast forward, we're there. We're sort of doing this give and take of
Little dance.
very reserved flirting.
Kind of a respectful.
Kind of respectful because in the office, so we want to be respectful. We want to be very careful about what
Very
we say and how it-
professional.
yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I remember going to his receptionist and saying to her, that Jon Solish is really nice. And she said, no, girlfriend, he ain't nice. She said, no, girlfriend, he ain't nice. He likes you. She said, I've been here for 6 months and that man has never said boo to me.
Oh.
I was like,
Wow.
okay. Well,
And
let me see
how
where
did that
this
make
is
you
going.
feel?
Look, game was on.
All right. Yeah.
Game was on. I'm like, okay, so he's not nice. He's just flirting. I'm up for the challenge.
Okay. It's getting hot in here, sweetie.
Yeah.
You're open
I'm
the
gonna have to
door,
take my sweater
Mr.
off.
Truffles.
Oh my God.
I started putting it out there. Every time I see him, I pull out the big guns. Hi, how are you? I'm more focused on my makeup and my hair and what I'm wearing. One day, he complimented me on something I was wearing. Whatever I said, he wasn't sure what I meant by it. So he started to explain himself. And I said, I'm just kidding. So now I'm in a panic. So I called my girlfriend up and I said, Jan, I've been flirting with this guy in the office, but I'm not sure if it's just from my end.
Even after what his receptionist had said to you, you're still not really sure.
I think I got yes. Even
You had-
after,
were you
even
getting
after
mixed
what,
messages
no.
from him?
Yeah, I really was because he was more reserved than I was. He had to be more careful
Playing it
because
cool.
this was
Sure.
his firm. He was the partner, so he had to be very careful in how he approached me. So I called my girlfriend, and I'm like, Jan, I think I'm making a fool of myself. I'm flirting with this guy, and I thought he was flirting back. back because I'm basing it on what his receptionist said. So my girlfriend says, slow down. She says, I've been in a lot of office romances, and there are several ways that you know that someone is interested in you because you have to be very reserved about this. I don't even remember what they were. It was the only one that I remembered. And the way his office was, it had a spiral staircase. You walk in, you have the lobby, and then you have a spiral staircase, and then he had his second floor. Well, my desk sat right at the top of the second floor. So whenever I heard his voice, I would make an excuse to come down the stairs.
That's great.
Where was his office located?
His office was way in the back, first floor.
Okay.
And that was the lobby. So when he came into his lobby and he was talking to the receptionist about his messages and meetings, I could hear him. So I would make an excuse to come downstairs to make my
It's like
presence known.
Pavlovian.
Right? So when I told my girlfriend this story, she said, if he's interested, he will search you out. Don't go finding him. And I'm
good
like,
friend.
It's a smart lady.
Good friend.
okay, so this particular day when we sort of solidified the
attraction?
there was no doubt.
Yeah.
I heard him come in and I almost came downstairs and I remembered my girlfriend, don't move, stay here, stay here.
Heel.
We want her to come on the show and help us answer mailbag questions.
I had no idea any of this
He
was
had no
going
idea
on.
any of this was going on. Sure enough, he goes to his office, and my girlfriend, she had me laughing. She says, you know, he used to try, because his library, his firm library was upstairs, and he used to pretend that he was going to the library, and he would go up with books and writing pads. And then he got rid of the books, and he would only go up with a writing pad. And she said, and now he just goes up with nothing. He just...
Doesn't need any props anymore.
He doesn't need any props. But tell him what you told me. When I told him I was doing that, he said, well, I used to talk extra loud to make sure that you
I bet. I bet. But all
But
that
you were
time
Pavlovian training him too. So he's
Yes.
like, if I speak,
she'll
a
get the
beautiful woman
message.
comes down the
But you never came
spiral
down, though, right? You didn't
staircase.
come
Well,
down.
I didn't come down. I used to always come down,
Right.
but once my girlfriend told me
Said,
not
stop
to,
coming down.
I stopped coming. Well, it was only that one
And
time.
I did a lot of research that
So this was the night that we connected. This one particular night that I didn't go down. He liked hot sauce.
I still do.
Collects hot sauces from all over the
collects
world.
hot
Wherever we
sauces.
go, wherever we travel to, he will bring home hot sauce.
I have a whole refrigerator just for hot sauces.
Really?
Yeah, a separate refrigerator.
He ordered this box of hot sauces
Okay.
from this place called Mohata Mobetta. And I thought, what does he know about Mohata Mobetta?
Wait, this is not the night, is it?
This is the night.
Yeah.
The night.
Now, one thing that impressed me about him, because we are extremely non-traditionalist. We are so off the beaten path. We're just not your basic people. We move by the beat of our own drummer.
Got it.
And in saying that, our first lunch date was at
It's in a Mexican stand. We went to Gloria's.
we went to Gloria. So I'm standing at the receptionist desk talking to my girlfriend, and we're trying to figure out where we were going to go to lunch. And John comes by and he says, what are you guys talking about? My girlfriend is laughing her ass off because he never says boo to her. But all of a sudden, he's in her conversation. He's talking to both of us.
How long had you been working there by this time?
By this time, 2 months.
Okay, so 2 months in, he's
Yeah, we
ready
were
to
moving
finally make
pretty
his
fast.
move. Okay.
He said, what are you guys talking about? Well, we're trying to come up with a place for lunch. He goes, yeah, me too. He goes back to his office. He comes back and he goes, well, I've decided where I'm going to go. And I said, good for you. Now, mind you, my girlfriend has already told me he likes me and
Right.
that he's been flirting. And I said, good for you. And then he says, would you like to come? And I'm like, oh, shit, is this a date? I look at my girlfriend and she goes,
So she just sort of shoos you in his direction.
yeah, she just shoots me. Go, 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 go. Because he was so apprehensive and concerned. And both my girlfriend and I are jokesters and shit talkers from way back. As we were leaving, she said to both of us, I'm going to be timing you.
So funny.
So So now he's like, oh, I'm limited now. We go to lunch. Our very first date
It's just the two of you.
is just the two
Did
of
it
us.
feel like a date?
Yes, because I was aware. We were both aware of the attraction at that
Right,
point.
right.
Although it wasn't a formal date, it was the two of us going out.
It was
in
crossing that
time.
line. It was crossing
yeah.
that from polite to I'm interested.
It was
Yeah.
the funkiest place you could have possibly gone. It was
Why
like-
did you choose that?
Because I liked it. And I knew the owner, and it was a little Mexican restaurant in a parking lot in West LA. But it was just the funkiest little place, and food was really good.
Yeah.
You already mentioned that you guys kind of marched to the beat of your own drum, right? And so for Jon, clearly he's interested in you, but it was, I guess for you, not really a risk. You're going to lunch, you got this attractive woman that you know is probably interested.
Oh, to be fair,
Yes.
she wasn't just attractive. She was beautiful. And he was kind of gobsmacked by her from the moment he saw her. He's playing it cool,
Yeah.
like cool as you could be. But in the meantime, you're feeling the
Well, she didn't
fire.
work that
Pretty
Yeah.
dapper. He was pretty handsome.
Yeah.
He was-
Right. So, I mean, you
he
guys are
was-
physically attracted, but it's
Yeah.
just like,
He-
can
he
you
was-
get the little dance?
I mean, not to say he's not handsome now, but
There
we
you
were.
go.
So he's 11 years older
a
than me.
little bit older, but not like a crazy
No,
older.
no,
yeah.
not like a crazy.
And still gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was obviously, I mean, he showed us the picture. You saw the picture.
Oh, yeah.
She was stunning. I mean, she's still very beautiful, but I mean,
thank you.
he
Yeah.
must have been jaw dropped.
Now,
The first thing that happened was the night of the hot sauce that you started the
oh,
story.
well,
of.
that was because at this time we had established, okay, something is going on here, and let's take this further. That day at work, his receptionist at this point started keeping track for me. Your boyfriend's not coming in. Your boyfriend's going to be late. Your boyfriend's this. So
Oh, that's
she
so
started-
good.
She,
That
your boyfriend's in court today. But we were confidants. She told me everything. I told her everything. So now here is that day when he came and I wanted to come downstairs and I had to heed what my girlfriend had said. So I waited. And then he came upstairs with the pretense of having me send something to someone. Can you send this to this person?
you are a piece of work, sir.
So while he was talking to me, I brought up the hot sauce. I said, what is this box? Because I didn't know what was in the box. I said, what is this box? Mo hotta, mo better. He said, I collect hot sauces. Would you like to see them?
Wow.
And I said, absolutely. So he said, can you send this to this person? And I knew it was BS. So I pretended to send it to this guy. I immediately go to his office. He had an associate in his office. And when I knocked at his door and he said, come in, he saw me, he shooed the associate out. Get out. So I went in, we sat, we talked. At some point, I said, let's go look at the hot sauce. So we go
So
out to
he
his...
invited you to come look at his hot sauce collection, and you're like, wow, that is the weakest line any man has ever used on me, but I'm already all in.
I'm in.
I'm in 100%. 100%.
You have me at Mohada Mo
So
better.
we go look at the hot sauce, and he brings the box into his office. Now, mind you, while we're standing here, and I'm asking him about all these different flavors and all these different hot sauces, he's kind of moved closely,
Getting a
and
little cozy?
we're rubbing elbows and shoulders, and I'm like, okay. So we're standing side by side looking at the hot sauce. God, I remember this so vividly. So then we take the box and we go back into his office. And this is where it gets
Hot and heavy.
hot and heavy. So we're sitting there, and I'm on the opposite side of his desk, and we're just sort of doing this small talking. I'm not good at that. I don't do small talk. I get to the meat of any conversation I'm having. I want to talk about real shit. So this was making me a little uncomfortable, all of this little
Small talk,
chit chat.
yeah.
Finally, I said, so what are we going to do about this attraction we have for each other?
Oh, Sondra, you did not.
Good for you, though. You're just like, enough
like
of this
it.
dance.
She
What's
nailed me
happening?
so
Wow. John, what was your, you're blushing now.
I'm blushing
30 years
now.
later.
I'm still
you
blushing.
are beat red. That's
I was
crazy.
beat red then.
My God, she called you out on it so hard.
Okay, so I just want to kind of back up. So I want to hear a little bit more what Jon has to say about his end of the stance. Okay,
Well,
so
I definitely remember her saying that to me because
Yeah.
we certainly were attracted to each other.
were you just waking up in the morning going like, oh my God, I'm going to see her today. What do I do? How do I play it cool? At
I
what
was
point
ve-
did you know that she was also into you?
Well, when she said that, the first thing I thought was, well, at least it's not just me. We're each feeling something.
But you've been feeling it since the first moment you connected eyes with her.
Yes, I felt something really strong. From
So
the
you're
very
playing
beginning.
it cool. You're a couple months in now.
Well, my first reaction is I said, look, I don't think it'd be a good idea. I think it would be bad for both of us.
Okay, so this is what happened. So I said, what are we going to do about this attraction we have for each other?
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. He was like, I don't know. And I said, I tell you what. And I take a piece of paper and I write my phone number, 310-835-9035. That number is so
changed.
old. That was 33 years ago. I wrote that number on a piece of paper and I pushed it toward him. Said, here's my number if you're interested. And he said, and my life is very scheduled. I don't know when I would find time. And that's when I wrote my number on the piece of paper and I slid it towards him and I said, here's my number. If you're interested, you'll find time.
Ooh,
Oh, snap.
that is hot. That's so good.
Actually, what actually happened was even hotter, though.
What happened? Adam, close your ears. So we sat there. After I said that, then he had 2 visitor chairs. He came and he sat beside me. He put his hand on mine, and we're sitting here, we're talking. My brain doesn't allow minutia. It's like, get to the grit of it. Just do it and be done. I kept leaning into him, and he kept leaning back. And I kept leaning in, and finally I said, look, either you're going to kiss me or I'm going to leave.
Wow.
So it's dark outside, and the building reflected the dark back inside, so you see the lights of the city out there. And she walks over and she's looking out the window. She just said that to me, and I thought, I either am going to kiss her now or she's called my bluff. It's not going to happen. So I walked across the room and we kissed on the lip.
And then the next day, we decided to go out. He's like, do you want to eat? I said, no. We need to go someplace quiet and we need to sit and talk. I don't want anybody around. We need to sit and talk about where we go from here. So I was going through my own stuff. He was where he was. Let's go someplace quiet. He had a white BMW at the time. And we sat in the we sat in the back seat because he was having his passenger seat repaired and he had no passenger seat. So he was chauffeuring me around.
Like an Uber driver.
Yes. So we had plenty of room to steam up the car windows.
So was that your first makeout session?
That was our first makeout session besides the kiss in the off. That was a Friday night. That Monday, he comes to work and he walks past me and he says, should I get a room?
Ooh. Wow. From like just keeping it in a holding
God.
pattern, everything he could do to hold it off.
Oh,
The floodgates had opened.
I have to be quite honest. I was on a mission. This is what, if you're interested, then I'm going to call your bluff and you're going to either stand up or sit down.
Right.
It's going to be your choice because I'm not playing.
You're not playing
right now.
games.
I'm not playing games.
Right.
Either you're interested or you're playing. So here we were. I'm like, these.
Come on. It's all good.
Oh, my Lord Jesus. He said.
Oh.
He said, should I get a room? I said, only if you're prepared to 3 times.
Oh.
We're not meant for your podcast.
No, this is all good. I'm
You know,
sure
in
it's
LA at the time, they had a bunch of these kind of cheesy motels that rented by the hours
God.
or
No.
hotel places.
Okay,
Santa
no.
Monica?
Just for the sake of the podcast, will you just say you took her to a nice hotel?
You were at the Four Seasons.
You went to the Four Seasons.
I talked
We were nervous,
so
actually.
much crap, but I was so nervous when it came. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Am I ready to run with the bulls? So that's where we were. Well, basically, within 7 months of us dating, we were living together. You made me leave my happy home. We were the talk of the office.
I can imagine.
It was so much fun.
Did you hear about Sondra
I
and Jon?
did. You know what? There was a lot of heat, but
Oh my
I
God!
didn't
I could
think-
tell something was
Did
going
you?
on. I know. She's so pretty.
I
Though.
know,
Who could
but
blame
he's
him?
so established and
I know.
he's
and
like
kind of
Richard Gere
elegant.
in Pretty Woman. And she's like Diana Ross.
Well, no one believed it because I wasn't the type. You know?
No, he wasn't.
I really wasn't.
This is why everyone knew that something was going on, because he was extremely unapproachable. But I would just walk and go into his office at free will. I would come up to him and talk to him and antagonize him, and all he would do was laugh. So everyone
Knew. Yeah.
So now let's fast forward.
Okay, so at that point, you guys knew you were all in. This was on.
We were all in.
So from that moment, how long until the marriage proposal took place?
There was no marriage proposal.
We just got married.
We just got married.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, wait a minute. No.
I'll tell you how
At
it-
some point, somebody brought up the idea.
As I say, what had happened was, okay, he was dissolving the partnership and he was merging with an extremely conservative firm in Texas.
Okay.
And I was his secretary. So I said to him, if we're going to be married, we need to do it now, because when you go in as a partner with this firm, you don't want to go in with your little girlfriend as your secretary. If we're going to be married, you need to present yourself as a professional.
Very pragmatic.
And I'm your wife. Some of his long-term friends, known them for a really long time, and they have a huge yoga foundation.
It's the White Lotus Foundation.
Okay.
So he founded the oldest yoga center in Southern California in 1965,
Where's it located?
Larchmont.
Okay.
I started going in, doing yoga there. We became very close friends.
So we called him up and we're like, so what are you doing this weekend? We're going to come up and have you marry us. Actually, they picked our wedding date.
They wanted it to be the winter solstice, right?
wow.
Yeah.
December
Right.
22nd? Is that what that is?
December 21st.
21st?
Oh.
It was me and him and our dog. We went to Santa Barbara. We were there at their cabin. We went up there on a Friday night. They married us, I think, on a Saturday night. We hung out. We went to dinner. We came back and we went to work. There was no honeymoon. There was no celebration. Rumors started flying. Are you guys married? No. Are you guys married? No.
Well,
And
no,
why were you denying it?
It was none of their business. It was none of their business.
I'm not big into formal ceremonies anyhow. I don't really like them.
You're a real hippie, aren't you?
I am.
This was just perfect for us. I wore a long floral sundress and I got a dried flower halo. Those are our wedding pictures.
What was like the first little trip you took? The first little romantic getaway?
Mexico.
First little getaway was to Mexico. Where did you go?
Las Jares.
Las Jares.
Was that just like really liberating to be away from all of the...
Yes, it was actually really great.
It was liberating and it was really sort of surreal for me because I had never traveled until I met him.
Remember they had a pool where the iguanas swam in the
Swam
water with you?
iguanas.
They had an
You
island in
swam
the
with
middle of it.
iguanas?
The iguanas
Swam
swam
with
with you,
iguanas.
yeah.
But then after that was 93. And then in 95, he took me to Paris and London, traveled in different cities in England. And then
Kind of a honeymoon for you? Or was that before the marriage?
before the marriage,
It
we...
was a pre-honeymoon. Mm-hmm. We can do the honeymoon
right.
first.
Yeah, what's becoming glaringly obvious to me with all the couples that we sit with is that love is so unique and so different for everyone. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Thinking about these 30 plus years together, right? Could distill it down and give advice to young couples starting out. What's the special magic ingredient that keeps it fun, that keeps the romance going, the love going, the trust and respect?
Well, I would start by saying, let the other person be themselves. I'm not demanding a lot of stuff of don't do this or don't do, and so when we're together, it's just kind of enjoyable. It's fun to be together.
My take is, people are often saying respect, communication, but these things are really important. Picking your battles, you can't fight about everything. And I think what we do as humans is we get a thought in our head and we assume because this is what we're thinking, this is what the other person is feeling. If I start thinking, yeah, well, she thinks this and she thinks that, that's all in my head. And it may have nothing to do with what's going on in his head. If I'm feeling some way about something, it's important for me to say, hey, I'm feeling this way right now. So communication, respect. You know, it's okay to be angry because we're all going to disagree. We're all going to get mad. But learn how to be mad with each other. Learn how to discuss your disagreements without insulting, without hitting below the belt. Because words, you can't take them back.
You can't take them back.
You can't take them back. It's like a person who's drunk and then they say something to me and then they say, oh, I was just drunk. No, baby. All that alcohol did was get rid of your inhibitions.
That she won't let me say anything that's mean. Some of our early fights, we'd have a disagreement about something, and I would say something that was ugly, and she would just absolutely not allow it. Like, just, time out, stop, you
Good
cannot.
for her.
I think I have learned emotional intelligence. She has a lot of it. I think that
She does.
Yeah, and I think she's kind of like steadied me of like, hey, don't go there. Don't things that you can do. You can make a lot of mistakes when you're upset about something and how you deal with another person. When you say mean things, those mean things stick. I mean, you don't forget them.
You can't take them back, just like she said. I have always abided by that because somebody says something mean to you in a fight. Can't make up later, but you can't. They can never undo what they said. You know that on some level they think that.
Yeah, there are things that I don't forgive in my life. I just have never let go of. I also think there's some grace in our relationship between us. If either one of us would ask the other one, would you make me, this, do that, or whatever, we'll just do it.
Ah, lovely.
Right? Like, we don't go like, why do I have to? I mean, it's just like, okay, you want me to get that, okay, fine.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your wisdom and your very intriguing story. This is a little something that we call a romantic weekend in a bag, and we like to send all our romantic couples home with a beautiful gift bag.
Yeah,
I know that you're a
out,
white
son.
wine girl, so I gave you a beautiful bottle of white wine. There's champagne truffles.
We also have Mrs. Truffles body butter.
Yes.
Homemade body butter in there. And Sondra's getting in there.
So we also have in there a beautiful romantic candle, fire candle. I think you'll love the candle. When I smelled that, I thought you guys would really like that.
It's fantastic.
Well, I'm so happy that we were able to finally do it.
Pleasure to hang out with you guys, really.
Wow, that was really fantastic. Thanks again so much, you guys. And we'll be right back with more for Love and Chocolate. This podcast is being brought to you by Beverly Hills Toysher, Chocolates of Switzerland. Beverly Hills Toysher at 371 North Camden Drive in Beverly Hills has been serving up truffles, pralines, dipped fruits, marzipans, and our world-famous chocolate bars for over 40 years. So, next time you're in Beverly Hills, why don't you come by and visit or shop online at BeverlyHillsToysher.com.
I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song.
Oh, Mr. Truffles.
Gonna cry.
That was so much fun.
It was.
Those two are
Oh,
amazing.
what a story.
So this is our final episode of the first season, and I think that was a great way to go out.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Well, it has been a wonderful first season. We thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us a reason to come back every week and do it again.
It's really been super special.
Please stay in touch with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our website at forloveandchocolatepodcast.com.
Yeah, you can write us letters there and stay in touch.
Visit
And
our store.
Visit our store. We'll be in there making ice mochas.
Yes.
We will be back before you know it with our second season of For Love and Chocolate.
And when we come back, we're going to have some amazing guests and so much more, not to mention our in-house experts.
Yes, I can't wait for second season to get more advice from our learned experts and to share more journeys in everlasting love with you.
That's right. Well, we're going to miss you guys so much, but we won't be gone for long. So until next season, say goodbye, Mrs. Truffles.
Goodbye, Mrs. Truffles. Don't forget to write.
This show is brought to you by Beverly Hills Toysher Chocolates of Switzerland, home of the world's first and finest champagne truffles. Join us next week for more adventures in everlasting love.